Welcome to another episode of Morning Mojo with me, Shane Solomon. I'm super delighted to have on the show today Adam Budd.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, mate, it's an absolute pleasure. But I want to say thank you, first of all, to your referral club for being the sponsor of this episode. If you've not become a member of your referral club yet, check it out, yourreferralclub.com. It's the only way to do business in Cornwall by getting preferred deals and discounts across many businesses and services. You get really looked after. I'll make sure we hook you up before you leave today, Adam.
Sounds like a treat.
Now, Adam, I need to get straight into the content. People are listening to us or watching us on the way to work, in the gym, sneakily in the office, wherever they are.
We won't say anything.
Just looking for that kind of nugget, that kind of bite-sized information they can take away to think, yeah, my day's on track. So how does Adam start his day?
I won't be the first and I won't be the last to say this, with a very strong cup of coffee. I need a coffee, a bit of caffeine coursing through my veins. I think a big misconception for a lot of people is if you work for yourself, as soon as you wake up, you go straight into working. And I don't feel like you're going to get the best work out of yourself. So for me personally, I wake up and I spend about an hour just trying to get up to speed, drinking my coffee, having a bit of breakfast, and then I can feel like I'm getting into my work and, actually contributing.
That fire in your belly, that kind of mojo that keeps you going then. And when did you find out that you had that? I mean, give me a bit of your backstory and decided that what you wanted to do.
So I think it all started, I spent a lot of time at university, connecting with various different people, hearing their stories, and finding out what they do best. And that's kind of an all-encompassing approach that I have with how I do my things now. I want to know how other people do their work. I want to know how they do what they do and how well they do it. So my drive comes from trying to be better myself by talking to others. I've accepted that I'm not the best at everything, but I can try, I need to give it all every single day. And I do that by, working out, right, this person's got this expertise. How can I help them from my perspective, but also how can they help me?
Okay. So what do you do when things aren't working though? Because we all experience that at some point where you think you're on track and then life will chuck you a curveball. What do you do to get around that? Because it's not all rainbows, is it?
No, it's not all rainbows. And I think a lot of people that say this is taking a step back. It's very easy when you work for yourself to get wrapped up in every single little detail. And it is for fair reason. You care a lot about the success of not only yourself, but also the business and the people that you help. Taking a step back, maybe going for a walk. And again, this is where you can talk to other people, get a different perspective. You're not always going to have the right perspective, but you're not going to be far off. If you're still in in your industry, you can have a good idea, but there are going to be people out there that can help you.
Sure. Now, you're a freelancer, so
Indeed.
in theory you work by yourself. You don't have like loads of employees. How do you motivate yourself to keep going as well? I mean, that's the thing. I'm working from home. I'm guessing you do a lot of that.
As a freelancer, I think the main thing I do is try and take a step back and try and look at it from a different perspective. I have a lot of people around me that have helped me to this point, and I trust them to have my best interests. So I can go to them and go, right, what do you think about this? And sometimes they might not have something for me, but literally just being able to talk to them about it and voice it myself maybe makes it slightly more clear in my mind. One big issue that I come across sometimes is being a freelancer. I work from home. I don't have an office to go to. I find a lot of people can separate their home life and their work life because they are going from one location to another. And that means that they can solely fix their mind on their work while they're in the office. So what I do is I go and mix up where I work from. The beauty of being freelance, I've got a laptop and I can get a Wi-Fi connection. I can do my job entirely. I can go sit in a coffee shop. I can sit in a library if I wanted to. I have friends that are, with their businesses that I can go and sit in their offices. Just that communication to bounce ideas off helps no end.
I remember before we had this wonderful studio facility here in the offices and everything, that Mike and I used to work from different pubs. There was one in particular, and the Victorian at Roach, give him a bit of a shout out. And that used to be our office. We used to go there in the morning, not to drink, you understand.
No.
But to go there, I'd very often have a bit of breakfast, and start the day right there. But it was great because you did have people around and you'd bump into people you might know and things like that. Because for me personally, I despise working from home. I just cannot do it
Mm.
in the traditional way. I mean, I still look at my phone when I'm at home
Yeah.
and do a few socials or emails and things, but I just can't really get into the groove, and everyone's different. Now, you work in the SEO
Indeed,
industry,
the dark
search
arts.
engine optimization, for those who don't know what it is. But what is SEO in simple terms,
So
Alan?
I'm going to try and explain this how I'd explain my job to my granddad.
Okay.
So what I do is, say for example, you have a business selling chairs. You have a website, and what I do is I make changes to your website. So when you Google chair business, your website comes first. That is the crux of it. The aim of the game for every SEO is to get your client's website or your website as the number one listing on Google for the search term that you desire.
Now, this cannot be easy. It fascinates me because anyone in business wants to be there.
Yeah.
And there are many companies doing the same thing. There's a lot of
Mm.
video production companies in Cornwall, some amazing ones. But that's the kind of work I want to be number one. I want to be number two, at least, it can't be easy. I mean, what sort of kind of time scale are we looking at here? Because it's no easy fix, is
That
it?
is, it's a very valid question, and SEO is one channel that kind of gets put on the back burner of all digital channels, and the reason is you don't see an instant return,
Mm,
and it's very hard to justify. And I completely understand that as a business, you're going to want to see a return for your money.
mm,
SEO can take anywhere from 3 months to 12 months for you
sure.
to see anything.
Mm,
Whereas if you were to go to, I don't know, social media advertising, if you do to put adverts on Facebook or to advertise on Google advertising, paid search, you'd see a return within the month.
mm,
So what the biggest drawback for SEO that most people see is that it takes too long for something to come to fruition. But what I tell people is it's never too early to start doing SEO. As in, you will see the fruits of your labor in 12 months' time, but you will have such a stable foundation in 12 months' time that you will really be able to kick on then.
sure.
It's a long-term strategy is what it is. And I'm sure everyone's looking for a long-term success, aren't they?
Absolutely. You don't want the quick wins. You
No.
want the constant wins, don't you?
You want sustainable and steady growth.
Mm.
Yeah,
And so it's all about building that wide base
that's it.
and really being established there. We talked about you being a freelance. What's the kind of positives and negatives of that?
So positives, I'm sure, as it's quite well documented, is I get to do my own hours. I get to work from wherever I want. I get to work on what I want. But there's an asterisk next to that last one, which sort of feeds into the negative. You have to get to a certain point to then be able to decide what you work on.
Mm,
What they don't show you with freelance is while everyone's saying, "Oh, it must be great. You're your own boss. You're working on the projects that you love. You get to work with brands you love." In the beginning, you have to work with brands you're not going to completely connect with entirely
mm.
because you have bills, you have to pay these things. But it's a matter of getting those ones, those clients that their brands aren't what you completely associate with, doing a really good job, getting the reputation, and getting them to refer you on, and it's just sort of a domino effect from there.
Mm.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of stresses that come with freelance, but the risk and reward, it's plain to see.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Absolutely, absolutely
And a
is.
bit like SEO.
It is indeed. Yeah.
Social media plays a big part in our lives now, business and personal.
hmm
Now, I have on my notes here that 80,000 followers on TikTok. That is remarkable, my friend.
time.
Talk me through that.
So during COVID, I'm sure we all picked up a strange hobby during COVID. I could have started baking banana bread like most people did, but no, I decided to start a TikTok account. Maybe a year or two into the platform actually being released to the public. And over the course of maybe a year, I built up a following from zero to it peaked, I think, at 88,000 followers, 1.3 million likes, millions of views. I had 2 viral videos. That is a very strange experience when you think no one, I think, sits in their room going, I could go viral.
Mm,
This is something that's definitely going to happen to me. But you put together an idea and then you just watch it take off, and you don't know what to do because it has, I don't know, the best part of 100,000 likes, but then it has 4,000 comments. And in the beginning, I tried my very best to communicate with every single person that commented, and then it was at that point I went, it's going to be pretty tough. It's going to be pretty tough. But TikTok is an unbelievable opportunity for not only people on their own individually, but also businesses. You do it right, there's no end to the potential.
talk about going viral.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to go septic. So I think I think that's probably better than viral. I'm
Absolutely.
not sure. So what was the content about then, your TikTok channel?
So music, I can't play an instrument, I can't read music, I can't sing, which some may be thinking, how did you go viral in the music category? I did a journalism degree, so I can talk about music, but I can't play it. And I just sort of found a niche. I sort of took inspiration from, there are a lot of YouTube channels that do what I did on TikTok, but there was no one on TikTok doing what the people on YouTube did. It was sort of finding a way to translate what they did, fitting it into the portrait format, and essentially optimizing it for mobile. Is
Mm,
in, you need to condense what they've done in a 10-minute video into 55 seconds,
mm,
the best you can.
mm.
Best of luck.
Yeah. And off you went.
And off
And
I
the
went.
rest is history.
Well, the rest is history. It's a lot of those who follow me on LinkedIn will know that I've made several damned attempts at trying to rebuild my TikTok following, or say following my account, because there is potential there. You know,
Of course.
you sit. I'm sure not many people are sitting on an account with 80,000 followers just waiting for something to do with it.
No, I mean, I kind of peaked at 12,000 or just over 12,000
Yeah.
followers. That's where it's settled at the minute because I'm not doing lots on there.
That's it.
But my goodness, it's one of those things. I remember being shown the TikTok at a Christmas do by my nieces. And of course, back then it was literally just the old dance. I'm not getting into that.
Yeah.
I just don't need it. But now, again, just like every other social media before that's become popular, people are starting to jump on there.
It's
And I think
evolved,
the
isn't
bigger
it?
brands are looking at it not only as, a great way as a recruiting tool. They look at it that a lot of people that they might recruit in the future
Yep.
are looking at their cultures and the way they do things on there.
Definitely.
What's your thoughts on social media? Because there's so many out there. My kind of humble opinion is that I like to pick one that works well for me, do that, and the other ones, I try and keep on to. I can't do them all.
No, and I agree with you on that. I think there are a lot of businesses out there that the first thing they need to do when they sit down and go, right, we need to make use of our social media. You need to work out who your audience is. You need to work out how old they are, what their interests are. The thing is that's not going to appeal to every platform. I'm thinking TikTok, generally, when you think about it, is a younger audience. That's not necessarily true anymore. That it's getting slightly older, which is good, which means it's becoming a sort of a all-encompassing platform, which is quite exciting in a way. But that also does mean that your content needs to match that, and you're also going to exclude a few people from that. But yeah, I think social media is a huge tool for people, but you need to use the right one that suits your brand, especially with image and things like that. Say, for example, Instagram. Perfect. If you've got the strongest visuals in the world, then that's the platform for you. But also the discoverability might be slightly hampered on there. If it depends what you're looking for. If you're trying to showcase your business, then Instagram, go for it. TikTok, great place to not only showcase, but also reach a new audience.
It all plays a part. SEO, the social media side of things, your best contact details. What's your communication of choice? How do you like people to get in contact with you?
Email is usually my bag. You can go through my website, you'll find it on the contact information. But also, equally, if you reach out through on TikTok, my account is the same as my email. You're going to find me.
Just tell us what it is. As well.
ADC Bud BUDD. I find that I think I'm of a generation where I'm not too fussed about where the communication comes from. I feel like sometimes email can be a bit more formal, which is fine. I can do that. I think I will find that if I was messaged through TikTok, I will eventually take it to email. But I think I might be stuck in my ways that way.
Well, look, we're getting to the end of this podcast. I could talk to you for ages, just like all of our guests so far. I want to know what your best inspiring life lesson is so far on your journey on this planet.
I think it's especially relevant to freelance. I think it's, if you're going to do it 100%. But I also saw one the other day that I did enjoy, that if you have to do it and it's going to suck anyway, half-ass it if you can, because anyway you've given it 50%. But no, I'd say if you're going to do it 100%, because you don't want to look back in 5, 10, 20 years time and go, I really had an opportunity there and I should have taken it, but I didn't give it every single thing I had.
I like it. And where do you get your inspiration from? Where do you pull any inspiration in your life?
I think for me personally, it will come from my family. I have various members of my family are self-employed, run their own businesses. But but it's strange because I never really had the desire to go freelance while I was working before. But it's something I felt that I have such a strong support network behind me that, when I do these things, they've always got some guidance for me. And my motivation is, to try and be as successful as they've been.
Love it. So a takeaway there for the listeners and viewers: surround yourself with people that are better than you, perhaps, or advanced than you.
That's it.
And kind of work out what they're doing, right?
Yeah, I think the smartest move, I actually once spoke to Joe Healy of Healy Cider, and he said the best move that he made was surrounding himself with people that are better at his job than him.
Indeed.
And I thought, couldn't be more spot on.
Yeah. And do you know what? That's exactly the same for me now, where I'm on my journey, where I make sure the people that work within my team, and we are a team, it's, it's that they're better than me.
Yeah.
So Megan, for example, who produces this show, is much better at the research, much better at the comms, much better organizing than I am. Jay, who kind of puts it all together, is much better than I am. And just knowing those people add to, the overall picture.
Yeah. And I think you realize that you have your own skills. And your skills will evolve over time. As in, you might have been strongest at that,
That's
5
right.
years ago.
I used to make great videos.
Well, there we
go. I can't do it anymore. I can't even get the white balance right. Do you know what I mean?
As in, 5 years ago, you might have had the strongest skill set there, but now your strongest skill set is maybe in the communication.
Yeah.
And, it's just recognizing that.
I'm still trying to work out what my purpose is, but there we go. Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. It's certainly a fantastic journey to have inspiring people like yourself on. Hopefully, if you've been listening or watching to this, you've had some great takeaways there. I've taken a couple myself. My thanks, as always, to Megan and Jay working on the show with me. But our big thanks to your referral club.com, who has been the sponsor of this podcast. Make sure you become a member, get your card. It's very affordable. Over 100 different places where you can use it to get looked after: food and drink, meeting rooms, anything you need in business, yourreferralclub.com. Well, thank you once again.
Pleasure.
And
thank you.
I look forward to catching up with you in the near future.
Absolutely.
Well, I look forward to seeing you and you listening to me on the next episode of Morning Mojo. See you next time.